Well, good afternoon and welcome to Payentry's weekly webinar. Today we're going to be talking about the current trends in hiring and onboarding. I'm Kathy Graham. I'm head of HR services here at Payentry, and I want to welcome you today. Let's just up front, a little housekeeping, legal disclaimer. I wish I were, but I'm not an attorney. So this webinar is being presented for educational purposes. And while I hope it's useful to you in understanding the topic, please remember that the information provided during this presentation is not legal advice. Also, I wanted to let you know that you do have a handout of this presentation on your screen under handouts. And if during the conversation we have today, you have a question, please type it into the question box and we will address all questions at the end. Okay, let's talk about hiring and onboarding in 2022. We all know times have changed. This is not the way it used to be. This labor market is extremely competitive. In fact, and it makes candidates more selective about their choices because they may have 3 or 4 job offers instead of 1 or none, like in the past. And more people want remote or a hybrid workplace. And a hybrid workplace would be where you go into the office 1 or 2 days a week, and then you work remotely the rest of the week. So it's kind of a mix of things. So employers have to act more quickly now to recruit their top talent for their companies. If you snooze, you lose. Because the labor market is extremely competitive and it does span all demographic groups, it makes it even harder to find the person that you're looking for. A lot of companies have slacked off on their diversity programs because of the inability to find the candidates that they need, but it's really something that you just need to work harder at. There are 10.9 million job openings in February, or were in February. So that just tells you when you're recruiting for a position what you're up against. Here's a chart that would show you just how business are struggling. This is done by the Heritage Organization. The percentage of businesses, the historical average for job openings that they're unable to fill is 23%. It's up to 49% now. And those who have had to increase compensation in the past month is up from 22% to 48%. So a lot of these say that one of the challenges here is inflation, and another is the labor quality or the labor cost. So I thought this was just an interesting chart to share with you. It's from the National Federation of Independent Businesses. This is definitely not your parents' job market. Now over 50% of the recruiters out there are using chatbots, and that's the little thing that pops up and says, hi, thank you for coming here today. How can I help you? So we get that on a lot of our retail sites now, but the recruiters are also using that when someone is interested in a position. Virtual interview is the new resume, and a virtual interview is one that an employee records on your job site, or not job site, but your website, that gives you basically an interview without you being there. They answer certain questions, it's all videotaped, and then you review that at a later date. So that's the new resume for a lot of companies. Today, candidates have more leverage and more options because of the number of jobs that are open. And we do know that flexible work is here to stay. What I mean by that is the option of working remotely or working on a hybrid basis, just because of the demand from the population that's available. 65% of workers surveyed wanted to work remotely. and 33% want a mix of remote and in-person work. I'll tell you, Payentry, or Payentry has gone to a totally remote workforce as of March of 2020. So we're in our second year of it now, and I miss going into the office. Um, but I was driving an hour and 15 minutes one way, so I don't miss that. So there's some good things and bad things about working from home, but if you're a people person like I am, I do miss being around others. So I have to figure out how to get that in another way. The speed at which you're hiring, making job offers is critical. Um, your ability to move candidates through that recruiting and hiring process quickly can be the difference between you're making the hire or not. They may be getting two job offers at the same time. So you just don't sit on your thumbs anymore. One of the things that has come about during this great resignation is a lot of companies are trying to streamline the process to keep up with the speed that they need in hiring and recruiting and hiring. One of the interesting things that I found that companies are doing is adopting what they call hiring service level agreement, and that is taking into consideration all of those individuals who are in the hiring process, the team that's assigned, and give them certain standards and tasks. You break the tasks down into timelines and then define the responsibilities. Who's responsible for what? Also, standardizing your interviews makes it much easier to compare your results after several people have interviewed a person, if that is the way that you hire. So creating a standardized interview and having everyone use the same form helps later on when you're in a discussion about the applicant. And I think that this is probably a really good process because you could be trying to hire someone, but there's one manager that's dragging their feet and it takes too long, and that will probably cause you to lose the person that you're trying to hire. It also gives the um, candidate a much better feeling about the process and about your company if it moves smoothly through and they don't have any delays. Creating that candidate expectation or experience is a real key to this whole process. You might consider in 2022 expanding your reach. Consider candidates you would not have considered before. Um, Doing the virtual interviews can be done anytime, so you can check out the virtual interview without having to spend a great deal of time looking at, having them there in person. And that doesn't require that the team members be present, so it's not all consuming for the team. And also consider non-local recruiting. Advertise in multiple geographic areas, especially if your staff can be remote. Don't limit it to a certain area. It's very important nowadays that you stand out from the competition. If you don't, you'll just fade into the background. You need to actively demonstrate what your company looks like to the individual instead of seeing if they checked out your website or asking them if they checked out your website. You should be presenting that to them. You can also include videos that are linked to your communications with the individual that show you what the company is like, what the culture's like, and connect the applicant with future peers. Have your CEO or a member of top management reach out to them. That's pretty impressive if someone calls you from the company just to ask how the process is going and if they have any questions. It makes them feel special, and that's what this is all about: is making the candidate feel special enough they want to work for you. Make sure that your compensation package also is competitive. If you're going out there with a low base salary, for the job and there are lots of candidates, you're not going to get the person unless your culture is such that you have other things that outweigh that. So make sure that your benefits and your salary base are competitive. There are a number of trends in recruitment technology. One of those we deal with every day. Remember back, oh gosh, a lot of you probably are too young to remember this, but you went to the classifieds on Sunday in the newspaper, the Sunday newspaper, to find your next job. That's not the case anymore. Job aggregators or job boards like Indeed and Monster and a number of others that we use nowadays. This is where applicants are going. Applicants are searching these sites instead of going to your company website, which was another way of looking for a job before, or to the newspaper. The current job aggregators rely on artificial intelligence and algorithms to make sure that jobs connect with applicants or applicants connect with jobs, and that they are put in front of jobs that would appeal to them. Another trend is applicant tracking systems. These have been around for a long time, but they've gotten a lot smarter. This is software that manages the application process digitally. It automates the application process and the workflow from interview to hire. Another one is recruitment CRMs. CRM stands for Candidate Relationship Management. This is a tracking system that monitors and manages the application process. It could be one and the same with the applicant tracking, but it's not. The applicant tracking is used only to track and not to hire. This serves as an ecosystem where the data that you collect resides about the applicants, whether they're currently being interviewed, they're passive from the past, or in between. Now, one of the things I want to point out today is that if you are on the Payentry system, we have a system that is that comes with the comprehensive package. It's called Hire and Onboarding, and that's available to anyone who is on our comprehensive package. And if you don't know if you are, you can reach out to me or to your client advocate, and they can tell you. But if you pull up your Payentry system, look in the bottom left-hand corner, and if you see Hire and Onboarding here, that means it's available to you. If it's not there, then ask somebody what it would take to get that added. You do not want to be without Hire and Onboarding. It's one of the my favorite things about our system is how easy it makes it to bring on people and electronically onboard them. You can actually run advertisements through this. I'm going to go to the next. Let's go back for just a minute. You can, through the hiring part of this, you can run job ads for free on Indeed, and you can post several jobs at a time. It does not cost any extra, but then all of the applications and all the applicants come in through that website. So it makes it very handy to go to one place and look at all your ads, all your jobs that have come in, or job descriptions and job applicants. And you can also use it to route throughout the company. So it's a very slick system. And if you don't use it now and you want to, just reach out to me and I'll get someone to connect with you and show you how to use it. So onboarding is let's move from hiring on to onboarding. Onboarding is a critical component of every company's success, especially with a remote workforce. Great employee onboarding improves your retention rate by 82%. And it's amazing that 20% of the individuals who are hired quit in the first 45 days because their expectations are not met. And that means that they were given bad information in the interview, or they thought their job was going to be one thing and it's another. So it's important to make sure that your onboarding is clear and complete. So Effective onboarding makes the new hire feel welcome from day one. It includes them in a lot of other parts of your company. So they feel included when a proper onboarding process has been applied. Use technology when you're creating this experience and virtual onboarding because it makes it so much easier. Encourage your team members to welcome these new hires via email. Another thing I don't have on here is that when they come into the company, announce them. They're here. Tell the rest of the population why they're here and what they're going to be doing there. And then schedule a virtual team lunch on day one if you are remote, or if not, and you can do it in the office, take the new hire to lunch. Make them feel included. If they feel included, they will stay. For onboarding too, start before the first day. Send them a welcome email. That's always a surprise, I think, to someone if you send them a welcome email. Encourage questions. They may have a ton of questions that they want to ask when they get there. Well, answer the questions before they start. And then send them a new hire welcome package. I don't know if you're like Payentry, but we do have some swag. And so a mug, some pencils or pens with your name, company name on it, something that welcomes them to the company. And then definitely use technology. Have your onboarding documents signed electronically. Wastes a whole day when they come in on the first day, or a half a day anyway, to have them sit there and read the handbook and sign the paperwork, et cetera, et cetera. Include the required forms in your onboarding electronically. And their job description, which is very important for a new hire. It sets that expectation of what they're supposed to be doing. And then there are a number of legally required notices by state that you have to have employees complete. If you're in California, it's about 6 to 10 documents that you have to give to a new employee. So those should be included in this onboarding process. And then introduce them to their team through a video call once they're there, unless you're in the office, and then everybody can get together in the break room or in a meeting office. Make sure you send your employee handbook as part of the pre-boarding process, because then they will have read it before they get there, and a lot of their questions will be answered. And if there is any confusion about certain things, it will clear that up before they get started. Using digital onboarding frees up that first day at work for more important interactions with staff and meetings of all kinds. It can also verify their identity. If you use E-Verify as part of the process, and the Payentry system does do that, you can elect to use E-Verify through the Payentry system. You can also do background checks through the Payentry system on the onboarding side. This provides the company with the ability to engage the applicant before day one, make them feel a part of the company before they even get there, and to answer their questions and introduce them to the organization. And here's just another reminder that you do have an onboarding system. You can electronically onboard your new hires. So easy. And we have tons of companies using this that love it. But you would go to your Payentry login screen, and down in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see Hire and Onboarding. If you need help learning how to use that, we are here for you. This is just a piece of what's in this onboarding package. You can preload things like the I-9, which will fill your information in. Also, you can get their tax forms completed here. You can get all their payroll information like their direct deposit. This is just a piece of the list that was on that screen, but I wanted you to see the types of things that you could put into onboarding. Where you upload your employee handbook, you upload any other forms that the employee should sign before they start work. and you get all of that up front. So what you need to do now, is you need to do a hiring onboarding checkup, because hiring in 2022 is going to be as tough as it was in 2021. And with 5 million jobs open, you need to be on your toes. So the first thing that you need to do is assess your current hire and onboarding practices. If you are still doing it with paper and pencil, you need to stop that, because it slows things down, and it's going to make it a lot more difficult for you to get people on board and at work. Implement digital systems wherever possible. If you have access to Payentry's digital system, then use it. Don't be afraid of it. It's very, very simple. Then develop a formal hire and onboarding process. Write it down, share it with your managers, and then train your hiring managers on the process. It will make things move a lot more smoothly, and then everybody's doing it the same way. There's less chances that you will have somebody missing the boat on making sure that the person that they just hired is thoroughly onboarded into your culture. Okay, with that, I'm going to open it up for questions if anyone has any questions. And for some reason, let's just see here. It doesn't look like we have any questions today. So what I'm going to do is move on to the next slide, and thank you for being here. If you do have questions after this, or you want some help with the onboarding system, please let me know. And if you want to get out of the headache of being compliant from an HR standpoint, you don't have an HR manager, or you need some project work done from an HR standpoint, reach out to us. We're sitting here ready to help you. Give us a call, and we have a new HR services compliance package that's very affordable, but you can also call us for free. If it's just a phone call or an email, or you need a form, please reach out to hrservices@payentry.com. That is a part of your payroll package. You do have access to us on a limited basis. And then if you need more full-time or part-time work, we're here to help. Thanks for attending today. We'll see you next week.